This is for, you want to put this on the altar, or?
I'll tell you what, we're not taking up a collection tonight, oddly enough.
Well, this
It may
is
seem
just
to
for
some
the
people,
donation to the church.
but I'll tell you what we'll do. I can put this in the treasurer's box so that
Yeah.
we can, so that the treasurer can pick it up. How's that sound?
Good. Thank you very much.
Well,
That was really nice
thank you for
of
stopping by. Thank you for being so prompt. Thank you for your patience in waiting while I set this up. And then this is going to help me a whole lot with regard to how I do it tonight. So,
Oh, really?
yep. It's going to be interesting if we have 50 people here all desiring to have ashes put on their foreheads. That might take a little time. But I hope that people find it certainly worthwhile. Because we have our sister church coming down to join us, and perhaps some people from the Reformed Church as well.
Yeah, that's right. They're invited.
So,
They're invited.
okay. In fact, if Pastor Van Ort comes tonight, I may, what's the word? Press him into service to help me to do. Because, I mean, if you've got 40, 50 people here, that could take some time as far as doing it all.
How will you do it otherwise?
Because there's all different ways. I'm sure that there are people, there's all different ways of doing it. So.
Now, Taylor Holbrook, he says, oh, you want ashes? We went, and he says, no, he says, we don't do that. He says, we're too Protestant to do that.
Yeah. You know, I don't think it's a Protestant or necessarily in the Roman Catholic thing. I know it probably originates, it comes out of the Roman Catholic Church, but even then, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. You know what I'm saying?
But the thing about Palm Sundays, the tradition is that you save your palm,
Yes.
and on Ash Wednesday,
That's right. And why? And what is Ash Wednesday? You know, for 12 years, we had an Ash Wednesday service without any ashes. And, and so, there is the argument for that, of doing Ash Wednesday with ashes. So.
where will you get your ashes?
Good question. I have, God willing, I have some palms from years before. I may even have to give up one of those crosses in there that I have that people made for me, but that's okay too. It's going for good use.
Well, you
And
might,
next year we will save more of the palms from.
you might have enough palms for the
Well,
one I gave you.
Well, not only that, but Virginia gave me a. Ooh, you all right?
Yes, I'm fine. Walt has warned me about that 6 times, and I finally got caught.
Oh,
Yeah.
why? Because you thought there wasn't an extra step?
No, he warned me about that. He says most people go down this side, and then the steps get narrow.
Oh.
And I finally got caught. I'm sorry, Walt. That's okay. I won't do it again. Where are you going, downstairs?
Well, I'm going. Are you going out this way? You can get your.
No, I can go out this way. It's easier for you.
Either, yeah.
It's easier for you to go.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you very, very, very much.
Well, thank you for being so prompt and for coming by.
Okay.
Get that for you there, Vesta.
Isn't this a perfect day?
It's a beautiful day. It didn't get very warm, but I'll tell you, that bright sunshine.
Yeah.
That's that February sun. It's so much stronger than January.
It's coming.
Amen. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye. Come thou almighty King, let help us our name to sing. Help us to praise. Father all glorious, in all victorious, come and reign over us, Ancient of Days. Hi. Hi, are you Chase's brother? You're very, very nice. But I didn't bring any food with me. But I don't think you are because you're so friendly. Chase's brother is scared. He's scared all the time. You smell your brother? You're a nice kitty. Yeah, you're a nice kitty. You look like Chase, but Chase's brother is too scared. I think you're another black kitty. I think you're another black kitty. Hi, little kitty. I'm sorry I didn't bring you any food because I didn't know you were here. But I do think you're a little boy cat. Yeah, I think you're a little boy cat. And a nice little boy cat, too. I'll go buy you some food. I'll go buy you some food. Are you going to follow me home so that I'll have 9 cats? Connie, Charlotte, Christina, Chase, your brother. Across the road, Kitty, Penny, Sheba. Bye. Bye.
I've got a great job. Money in the bank. Last month, someone asked if I read the Bible. The Bible? I'm successful, I'm happy. What do I need the Bible for? I can get more from the Wall Street Journal. But that made me curious. So I decided to take a second look.
I'm on my feet all day. When I go home, I just want to turn on the TV and relax. But read the Bible? All those these and thous and begats? Who wants to struggle with that after waiting on customers all day? But then a friend showed me this version written in modern English, and I was surprised.
This guy I play hoops with said I should start reading it, the Bible. Man, I said, I don't need no Bible. I mean, it just ain't cool. So he goes, I read it all the time. And he beat me by 20 points. So he gives me his Bible. I read it. It ain't hoops, but it ain't bad.
What's your excuse? Before you make an excuse to avoid reading the Bible, stop. Take a second look. Pick up the Bible for 5 minutes, and you may pick it up for a lifetime.
Let's go to town hall and see if they know how to do a 4-track tape. So here are the ashes. So George McDermott wants to know if I have any audio tapes of Cablevision's harassment of my signers and calling up my signers and getting them to retract and getting them to withdraw. Okay. I said, yes, I think I have several. And he says, well, we need them. So These are audio tapes from the years 2000, 2001, and 2002. Heavy harassment was in 2002. And here's one of the heaviest, Peggy Homiak and Wappingers. And that was Joseph Bilbao. And he was fired from the company, or he left on his own accord, as so many people have. And I found the tape, and it's 1191, and it's taken me an hour just to get this far. These are the index cards with the contents. So let's see if we can find the Homiak, the extortion by Cablevision. A half later, I found one. Joe Bilbao, okay, talks Peggy Homiak out of signing. She backs down. Folks, out of this big pile of tapes, for which I'm very thankful, I found one tape. And I was going to look for more, but I called George McDermott, and he says this one's fine. This is to show how I would go out and get a signer and work so hard. You don't know how hard I worked to get a signer. And then I would send it into Cablevision, and then immediately they'd call up my signer and discourage him. And here they are in action. This is Peggy Homiak on the Wappinger system, and it's about Bilbao, Joe Bilbao. Joe Bilbao. He finally left the company. But listen to this. This is Franklin talking to Peggy Homiak on February the 5th, 2002.
What did he tell you? Did you talk with him? No, I haven't. Yeah, well, I told Aldora what he said. He said that I didn't sign a petition for Aldora's program to go on Cablevision, but he did say that I'm liable if there's any kind of a libel suit against anything that Glendora might say, that someone might take offense, and I would be liable. I would be what they call a sponsor, liable the same as she would be. So that really upset me very much. At my age, I don't want to have to worry about getting in any kind of a lawsuit, you know. And I was sorry. I felt so bad, you know, because I felt that I let her down, but I really had no choice.
Okay, now you see, I didn't see this, but George McDermott did see it. Why is that so important? He says it shows that if they hadn't called up the people and harassed my signers, they would have cablecast my tapes, and they would have sent them back to me, and this lawsuit would never have had to be brought. Let me say it again. If they had left my people alone and hadn't got them to withdraw, then they would have cablecast the tapes, and they would have sent the tapes back to me, and there would have been no need for this lawsuit. It would never have happened. And then they went ahead with bad faith, and they acted in bad faith all this time for 2 years, a year and a half, and damaged me, and so therefore they owe me damages for the harm that they did for me, acting in bad faith.
So there's the situation, and this is a new one. This one just happened on February 26, 2004. And it's 7:45 p.m. To the New York State Public Service Commission's opinion line. To continue in Spanish, press the pound key. Bienvenido a la línea de opinión de la Comisión de Servicios Públicos del Estado de Nueva York. Para continuar en español, oprima la tecla del símbolo de libra. If you are calling from a rotary phone, please remain on the line. Following the main choices, you will have the option to leave your opinion. The Public Service Commission is seeking your comments regarding any utility-related issue. Please listen carefully to the following choices. You may repeat these choices To leave your comment about an electric or gas issue, press 1. To leave your comment about a telecommunications or cable issue, at the tone, please leave your comment about a telecommunications
Press
or
2.
cable issue.
Press 2.
Please say and spell the name of the company you are calling about.
This message is for Do Nothing Mr. Flynn at the Public Parasites Commission, State of New York. Hop Hog violated one of your rules. Of course, you don't even know the law, but there is a law. First come, first served. The chat with Glendora was first come on Hop Hog since 1995. And this week it was dropped from its own time slot of 10 p.m. down to 3 p.m. And of course you will do nothing about that because you're well heeled by Cablevision. And Cablevision, so they're going to be sued on that. Cablevision's going to be sued on that. And Mr. Flynn, Cablevision will not talk to Glendora, a public access producer, for the information that she needs to administer her public access program, A Chat with Glendora. Cecilia at Peekskill and Savarino at Harrison just hang up the phone when Glendora calls to get the information that she spent 40 hours and $40 getting these crazy signers. And this is another thing, Public Service, Do Nothing Public Service Commission, is that you have no law that a cable company can insist on a local signer. You have no law at all. None at all. And you do nothing about that.
Thank you for calling the New York State Public Service Commission's opinion line. Goodbye.
So they had enough in a hurry, didn't they, folks, huh? I suggest you call that number and stand up for your rights. All you're paying the New York Public Parasites Commission for is to have a joyride anywhere they want and never be in the office and never do any work and just go out and get taken to dinner by the cable companies and all the other perks that the cable companies give them. They do nothing for the public. Folks, before I hook up the camera to the tripod, just let me show you this stack of work that's going on over here. This is Dolan, and it's the post-trial memorandum. And so far it's 30 pages. So this is all being assimilated into the Rye City Court. And now it's not the post-trial memorandum of law. I have to go through all these jot notes. I guess. I have to go through all these and incorporate them into the memorandum of law, along with any other electromagnetic waves that go through here at 186,000 miles per second. One Dolan job is done. McDermott wanted this case, Glendora versus Cablevision, which Glendora won. And I have I have an article from the New York Times and an article from the New York Law Journal and an article from the whatchamacallit. What's the name of the newspaper in Long Island? And so I'll send that to him too. And I should remember to show them to you. So, let's go. That's Charlotte. I don't know what she wants. I administered to her since 5 o'clock this morning. I wish that Sony had put that graphic down at the bottom of the screen instead of at the center of the screen. Right? So, we have to get Penny off of the stack of papers that I'm going to read to you. First thing up, Penny, I think, is jokes. Oh, I don't have any time to pick out some new jokes, so let's take the jokes back from August 16th of the year 03. The judge is a mature thinker. The judge is a mature thinker. All of his ideas are 60 years old. And the calculator with a built-in memory, the fellow picked it up to start using it, and the calculator says, hey, what about yesterday when you were doing your income tax and you slammed me down on the table? And the Roberts family sent their children to the most reliable summer camp. That would be called camp, and the most cheapest, and the cheapest, the most reliable and the cheapest summer camp. It was called Camp Grandma. And the swimming instructor, the father asked the boy how camp was, and he says, well, I almost drowned. He says, our swimming instructor was sick, so they sent over the golf pro, and he told me to keep my head down. And the Clancy's have tried something new. They did try something new last summer. They sent the dog to summer camp, and they sent the kids to obedience school. And the father picked up his son at the summer camp, and he says, were any of the kids lonesome, homesick? And the son says, yeah, some of them were, the ones who have dogs. And with all of the inventions they have now on cars, why can't they invent a windshield wiper that will not hold a parking ticket? And Marilyn has a wonderful way of saving gasoline on the way to work. She simply gets on I-95 and she turns off the ignition, and the other cars just push her to work. The policeman stopped the man and said, you don't have a tail light, and the man got out and he looked in the rear and he began to shiver and shake and cry, and the policeman says, no big deal, you just don't have a tail light. And the man says, yeah, but where's my wife and trailer? All right, moving on here, the legal paper that got done in the middle of this mess caused by Charles F. Dolan, Cablevision Systems Corporation, and Robert M. Callaghan, liar for hire. Penny won't get off of it. Okay, we received a letter from Mark Langer, who is the clerk of the United States Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia, and I have sent him that petition for review of the Judicial Council for the District of Columbia Circuit. And it was called a petition for review of the order of this fellow named Edwards of Glendora's petition for review by the entire Judicial Council of the U.S. Court of Appeals, District of Columbia, a petition of my complaint against them, and a petition for them to review it. Now, is that reasonable? Now, is that reasonable? We've cornered them. This is how bad things have become in the United States courts, in the federal courts. This is how bad they come. The Judicial Council is going to review Glendora's complaint about the Judicial Council. All right, so to get out of that for temporarily, they sent the whole thing back to me and said, the rules of the Judicial Council complaint and disability and misconduct, those rules say that you have to write a letter, that the petition for review has to be in the form of a letter. That's what's important, isn't it? Yeah, that's what's significant. It's not the fact that 14 judges on the United States Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia lied and cheated. That's not important. And then Edwards says, well, okay, but that's not misconduct. That's not what's important, is it, folks? No. What's important is that you put it in the form of a letter addressed to the clerk. That's what's really important. So, here it is. Ash Wednesday, February the 25th, 2004, Anno Domini, Glendora, Chatwick, Glendora, on 42 TV stations, including Washington, D.C., Box 124, Ghent, New York, 12075, 914-949-9495. Mark J. Langer, Court Clerk, United States Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia, 333 Constitutionalist Avenue, Northwest, Washington, D.C., 2001. My dear Mr. Langer, this is a letter. A petition for review of this circuit's bad work should be a grown-up legal paper. But this circuit wants a letter, and here is a letter Now you should have said this to Glendora in your notice to her of January the 16th, 2001. Your request for a letter is really untimely. You call a letter the proper form. This court has never provided Glendora with proper relief. Is the format really the importance? Isn't the significance saving America from liars and cheaters? These rules are nothing but an obstruction to justice. Criminal Code, Title 18, U.S. Code, Section 1503. But I will gladly write you a letter. Thank you for sending me so many pamphlets. They made good padding that makes my pen write more easily. I love these battles. I love working with God hand in hand to save America. To save America from her kidnappers. Our courts have been kidnapped. So with alacrity, I would change my petition into a letter. That will hardly change its flavor. Glendora had to do this once for the autistic Fifth Circuit, U.S. Court of Appeals, New Orleans. The transmutation makes no difference in the gravamen. Letter or grown-up legal form petition, as Glendora wrote it, makes no diff. It's adiaphorous. No matter what the penumbra is, the core burns brightly. You must not say, must be received within 15 days of the date of this letter. That's insufficient. That's nescient. Glendora has no control over the date of your letter, over the date she receives it, nor over the date you receive hers. You should say, must be postmarked no later than March the 4th. Even the United States Supreme Court can understand that. More fun would be to make it the Ides of March. I wish you would stop costing me all this postage and printing. I'm a poor person, made poor by disamericanized courts like you. Your moldy and stuffy and sick rules are a poor substitute for all-American justice. Glendora's charge is one of both judicial misconduct and disability. It's not either or. It's both of them. These 14 judges committed both of them, misconduct and disability. Glendora petitions the Judicial Council of the District of Columbia Circuit for the review of the January 16th, 04 order of Harry T. Edwards dismissing her charges against the Judicial Council of the District of Columbia. Now, isn't that an objective and fair and just way to review a complaint? The offenders review their own complaint against them. I think we have made a good point here. The charges against the entire Judicial Council, their names being Ginsburg, Santelli, Henderson, Randolph, Rogers, Tatel, Garland, Hogan, Urbina, Sullivan, Robertson, Kohler, Cotelli, and Kennedy. And it's, yeah, okay. Now, a copy of this went to Orrin Hatch, Senate Judiciary Committee, to the House Judiciary Committee, to George Bush, to, so we ran out of battery. Poor camera, I don't see how it takes all this bad stuff that comes out of the courts. So I was telling you to whom this was being sent. It went to George Bush, and it went to Meekum, a so-called administrator of U.S. courts. That's the biggest joke. To McDermott, Great American Patriot, in Washington, D.C., Maryland area. To the Center for Judicial Accountability Incorporated, that's the Sasshauers, also Fighters for Justice. For Consumer Advocate Barton Butts, and to Harry Richardson, another great fighter. What they have done to that man. And to Zabi. And I said to these judges, herein I simply attach the petition pages 2 to close that I sent you last week, Glendora, All-American, Ash Wednesday. All-American. All-American. Manhattan Neighborhood Network is going to throw away tapes. They're cleaning out their library. They asked me to pick up my tapes. They said I had 28 of them. And I asked them if they're going to throw them away, may I have them? And Chuck didn't know, Mary didn't know, but Melissa said yes. So will you go to Manhattan with me? It's about 200 miles down, 200 miles back. I'd have to know about how many tapes they might be throwing away. Excuse me. It's enough to upset the alimentary canal. Okay. Now QPTV, Queens Public TV, they're coming around the squares. You know, how can you be around if you're a square? And those evil people on the board and Nancy Littlefield and the administration of QPTV making poor public access producers get their programs on expensive Sony DV cam, professional Sony DV cam, which we can't afford. Thanks to Nick out in Los Alamos and to John Rowe, QPTV now has a Sony DV cam professional tape that has 5 programs on it. 2 of them been scheduled for March. That's not enough, QPTV. A Chat with Glendora has to be on every week. So you get going with those and schedule those programs. And the times are no good. You know, the times are like in the middle of the day. That's no good. They should be in prime time. Cox Cable TV, we got to find out a way to make them do justice. I guess I'm just going to sue them again. And Lori Badanani. Fire Lori Badanani. Fire Lori Badanani. Cox Cable TV in Manchester, Connecticut. Okay, I think that I should play you one of these extortion tapes by Cablevision, Dolan. You go out and you get a person to sign as a local resident. There's no law of that. There's no statutory basis for that. So you go out and you get a person to sign, and the person signs, and they, oh yeah, they want to help you out and have your program on TV. So you hand it into dirty hands, unclean hands, Cablevision. They call up the person, and this is the kind of thing they say. This is the kind of thing they say, folks. Let's see, where is the audio tape player? Probably some cat is sitting on it. Oh, Charlotte, what do you want? Are you sitting on the audio tape player? Yes, yes, you would know that a cat is sitting on the audio tape player. There's a whole bunch of these tapes like this. This is in February 2002.
Hello?
Hello, Peggy.
Yeah. Hi.
This is Franklin.
Franklin, you know, you sounded like, I don't know whether you remember, seeing we call him the young fireman, Bill Thomas, in the church, and you sounded just like Bill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How are you?
Pretty good, thank you.
You're good. I'm glad to hear that.
What did Bill Bow at the television, the Cablevision station, what did he tell you?
Did you talk with him?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, well, I told Aldora what he said. He said that I didn't sign a petition for Aldora's program to go on Cablevision, but he did say that I'm liable if there's any kind of a libel suit against anything that Glendora might say, that someone might take offense, and I would be liable. I would be what they call a sponsor, liable the same as she would be. So that really upset me very much. Because at my age, I don't want to have to worry about getting in any kind of a lawsuit, you know. And I was sorry. I felt so bad, you know, because I felt that I let her down, but I really had no choice.
He's 100% wrong.
Yes.
Because
Now, the most recent incident was this last night. I called Deborah Eacock in Garrison, and she signed for Pigskill. Okay, folks? She signed for Pigskill. And she was all set. She had signed the odious 4 pages. Nobody else does that, you know. Everybody else has 1 sheet, that's it. But Cablevision, Dolan, and Callaghy, they've got to harass you. Okay, so she signed the 4 sheets, and she did that at least a year and a half ago. And it was on file. But Cecilia in Peekskill loses things. She just loses them. She loses track of them, and she forgets things. And so she lost that. I have a copy of it. She lost it, and she said, I'm going to send you another copy of it. And when ECOC, who has signed for the program for a year and a half, and nothing has ever happened, ECOC got this, and she got all upset, and she won't sign it now. You see what they do over and over again to get rid of public access? Number 1, but particularly to get rid of a chat with Glendora, which exposes their lies and their cheats. You see that? And I have many more tapes like that. Bridget O'Connor in New Rochelle. Richard Ogden in New Rochelle. Carolyn Allen in Yonkers. Thomas Rogers in Harrison. Joe Patinay in Putnam Valley. And others. And they all signed merrily, happily, joyfully. I handed in to Cablevision. Bad faith. Cablevision calls them up and does exactly what they did to Peggy Homiak that you just heard. And I can play you those tapes too. But George McDermott says this one is sufficient for the memorandum of law for the city court, City of Rye, Peter Lane, that we have to hand in a week from today, March the 5th. So what's the point? George says the point is that if they hadn't called up the people and harassed them into backing out, and this is extortion, by the way, and this is RICO, Racketeer Influence Crime Organization. If they hadn't done that, everything would have been fine, the programs would have been cablecast, and the tapes would have been returned. And there wouldn't have been a need for Glendora to file suit for Cablevision to return her tapes. That's George McDermott's point. And then after it was filed, they acted in all bad faith and attenuated the case. Therefore, because of their bad faith, Glendora is entitled to damages, and the most I can get in small claims court is $3,000. Okay, what else is there to tell?
I've got a great job. Money in the bank. Last month, someone asked if I read the Bible. The Bible? I'm successful. I'm happy. What do I need the Bible for? I can get more from the Wall Street Journal. But that made me curious. So I decided to take a second look.
I'm on my feet all day. When I go home, I just want to turn on the TV and relax. But read the Bible? All those these and thous and begats? Who wants to struggle with that after waiting on customers all day? But then a friend showed me this version written in modern English, and I was surprised.
This guy I play hoops with said I should start reading it, the Bible. Man, I said, I don't need no Bible. I mean, it just ain't cool. So he goes, I read it all the time. And he beat me by 20 points. So he gives me his Bible. I read it. It ain't hoops, but it ain't bad.
What's your excuse? Before you make an excuse to avoid reading the Bible, stop. Take a second look. Pick up the Bible for 5 minutes, and you may pick it up for a lifetime.
I believe we're up to date, folks. How do you make the judge laugh on Monday? How do you make the judge laugh on Monday? Think about it. You tell him a joke on Friday. Oh, Charlotte, what do you want? You've been fed 4 times. That is that we are very happy because we are doing what we should do. We are standing up for right, and we enjoy it. We enjoy standing up for right, and we enjoy fighting for what is right. Here is, this is Cecilia Master. Okay, folks, you want to know how lawsuits start? All right. Here's one right here. Jim Cahagan just called me. He's the signer for Rockland. Kind man to do so. And there's no statutory authority that Cablevision can make him do so to keep a chat with Glendora on TV. None at all. All right. Jim Cahagan just brought the news that a chat with Glendora has been moved to 10 p.m. on Tuesday. Do you know what law is broken here? A chat with Glendora has been on Rockland TV since 1995, and its time slot is 9:30 p.m. on Tuesday. Okay? The law that's broken here is first come, first served. A chat with Glendora has to be at 9:30 Tuesday until Glendora dies or until Glendora relinquishes the spot. So, I hate to say it, this is Glendora versus Karen Heck and Paul LaPlante for violating a federal, state, and municipal law. First come, first serve. Next big bulletin. Jonathan Jaffe has called Glendora and told her that a chat with Glendora is back to 9 p.m. Tuesday. Now there's somebody obeying first come, first serve. They were sued. They came to their senses, and they stopped fooling around, and they put a chat with Glendora back at 9 p.m. Tuesday. So the lawsuit against the town of Greenburgh and Paul Feiner and Alfreda Williams and George Malone and the Cable Access Committee of the town of Greenburgh is withdrawn. And lucky, without costs and without damages. Folks, you want to see somebody run away? You want to see somebody who's done wrong and then run away just as fast as they can? Okay, this is a little background first of all. Adelphia Cable Company, the father and the son who owned it. They're sort of like James Dolan and Charles Dolan. The father and son on it went on a spending spree, okay? And they got caught. And I guess it's criminal. But anyway, they went bankrupt. And that's one fact. Next fact is that I sued Adelphia Cable TV a long time ago in the Supreme Court State of New York for not carrying a chat with Glendora on public access. And the bankruptcy has been going on, and I am a creditor in that bankruptcy. And a lot of things have come out of that, and I have certainly kept you informed as to what's going on with the bankruptcy. And I've sued the bankruptcy judge, and I've sued the U.S. attorney, rather the U.S. trustee, and I've sued a bunch of people for unjust enrichment. And and I filed my notice of claim, and they said the notice of claim was for $400,000, so I put down the $400,000. And I get this letter at Glendora, and it says, "Dear Sir, a matter, Contrarian Capital Management, LLC, a $1.5 billion money management firm, founded in 1995, would like to purchase your claim against the above referenced Chapter 11 debtor, Adelphia Communications Corporation. Contrarian is offering you a net payment of $400,000. Well, that's the nearest I ever came to $400,000. So I called him up, and I'd like to play you that conversation. Here's your telephone number. I'd like to point out to you that the man who signed it is named Peter Coviello, Senior Vice President.
Mr. Freeman? Who is it? Contrarian Council? Yeah, that's more like it. Is Peter Coviello there, please? This is Rhoda Freeman. We work together. Is there something I can help you with, please? Okay. Thank you. We'll give you a try. Thank you. This is Glendora. Glendora? Yeah. Okay. Which bankruptcy are you calling on, please? Okay, you don't know Glendora, right? No. Okay, let's talk to Peter Coviello. Is this regarding a bankruptcy claim? Let's talk to Peter Coviello. Hi, this is Peter Coviello. Hello, Peter Coviello. This is Glendora. Hi, Glenn. How are you? I'm good. How are you doing? Good, thank you. Now, about the claim that I have against Adelphia? Yeah. $400,000? Okay. All right. And you say you want to buy that? Right. Name of your company? Excuse me? What is the name of your company? I have a TV show, Chat with Glendora. Okay. And I sued them because they wouldn't claim my public access program. Really? Mm-hmm. And now, do you have can you hold on for 1 second, please? Something.
You know what he's doing? He's hooking in the woman who answered. What was her name?
Glendora? Yeah. Oh, hi. Sorry about that. That's okay. Okay, so go ahead. You were going to start to tell me about your claim? Yeah. And, so, how does this work? How soon do you're recording it, huh? No. I wanted my, it's okay. To hear it also, because I'm actually the person who signed the letter, but I don't, usually get on, and I guess you wanted to talk to me, and that's fine. Who's on the other line? It's Rhoda. Oh, okay. All right. So when does the $400,000 come to me? Okay. The way it would work is that you would sign that letter, we would finish our due diligence and make sure we understand that you have a good claim and so forth and so on, and usually we get the money sent to you by wire transfer within a week or so. But I must tell you that and people we really intended to get in touch with were people who did work for Adelphia, like that they laid cable and did that sort of work for Adelphia. So I'd have to understand exactly how your claim arose and get a better sense of the case. So can you tell me, like, I guess you had a public access show? Yes, Peter, but you wrote me. No, I know. Well, you wrote me. Let me back up. We have a list of everyone who claims they are owed money by Adelphia. And that's who we sent the letters to. But, we don't typically intend to get in touch with the folks who have lawsuits and that kind of thing. But we do buy them sometimes. Like, if you've got a case, I mean, is your case completed? Is the judge ordered in your favor? And, No, the case was robbed. By Title 28 U.S. Code 1401 to 1439, it was robbed. It was taken away from the state court and put into the federal court. Okay, and if the federal court ruled in your favor? No. You haven't seen anything come out of the federal court over those cases, have you? I certainly haven't. No. I haven't been following it very closely. No, and I opposed it, and the court denied me due process. The federal court denied me due process on that, the bankruptcy court. Right. And so... Yeah, I'm just curious, what kind of show do you put on? You mean, what is the Chat with Glendora? Yeah. Okay, you can see it Friday nights at 10 p.m. You live in Fairfield County? Yeah, I do. Okay. On Cablevision. What channel is it on? I think it's around 78, 79. Wacky Cablevision keeps changing the channels around every day. Okay. But I think it's up around 77, 78 or 9. Okay. Fridays at 10 p.m. Got it. Okay. Yeah, I'm just sort of curious. And unless it's 10:30. Maybe it's 10:30. What do you do? What do I do on a Chat with Glendora? Yeah. I stand up for rights. Okay. So in this case, you're sort of going after Adelphia. I mean, like, I think it's kind of not going to be a match for us to do a transaction because we only buy claims that have been already allowed by a court. Usually we don't buy litigation type claims at all, and if we ever were to buy one, it would have to be that basically your court had already found in your favor, and then Adelphia would sign what's called a stipulation where they would say, yes, this is a valid claim in the amount of $400,000. So I apologize for any... Yeah, it sounds to me like you didn't, do your homework, people. Yeah, well, yeah. We send out a lot of letters. We can't identify each and every claim before we have a transaction. The letter does say that it's subject to due diligence. So I don't think you did very well here. I think you flunked. I hope I'm not going to show up on your show now. Oh, yes, you are. Oh, no. Yes, you are. Oh, well, I'll be watching. Okay? Okie doke. Now, you're saying no to this, right? Right. Oh.
And that was it. Tape ran out, folks, and I think that was sort of the run out of the conversation, right? So what do you think of that? This is Glendora, chat with Glendora on 42 Cable TV Systems. Folks, I have news for you in Southampton. You do not have to pay your cable bill. You want to know why? Because Cablevision has no authority to operate as a cable TV system in Southampton. They have no franchise. They haven't had for years. Okay, and they don't have a certificate of authority that's current. So, you people in Southampton do not have to pay for your cable TV. Now, you people in Southampton, your politicians sold out Cablevision, okay? It's obvious what happened. And so, I think you should protest, and I think you should save public access in Southampton. And you call up these politicians and you tell them, don't sign that contract with Cablevision. And here's the number you call, 631-283-6055. I have a couple of reports to play for you from Zabby, an indomitable public access champion. Now, let's see if we can find it.
The man turned on his calculator that had a built-in memory, and the calculator said, what about yesterday when you were trying to balance your checking account? You slammed me down on the table. This is Glendora. My chat with Glendora. On TV system. And we have Charles F. Dolan and Cablevision.
You have two messages in mailbox 1 and 1 message in mailbox 3. Mailbox 1, Saturday, 2:32 a.m.
Hi, how are you? I'm Zabby, and you're going to be on television in the Riverhead system on March 5th from 9:30 p.m. till 11:30 p.m. Straight 2 hours. And I'm going off to the studio again. I've been there for the last 2 days, and I'm going there a third day now. And also it's there Tuesday, so I've been working quite a bit. And I won't be home till probably after 10 p.m. tonight. And I will be home tomorrow, maybe tomorrow afternoon. And I do hope if you'll send Miss McKenna that Irish Express lawsuit, maybe that will inspire her. I don't know what she thought about. I saw that the tape, Brian O'Hare sent me a tape of them standing out in the snow in Woodbury overnight. And I put that on air in Riverhead. And so, I don't know what Miss McKenna thought of that. And maybe now she's willing to fight for a second channel that we have coming to us. And sure enough, Bob Goldenberg
OBI.
at the time.
Uh,
When I met you, and
OBI, what was
I
it?
was on 8 different cable stations at that time. So, so if it weren't for you, I don't think I would have even discovered any of this at all. And so,
Saturday, 2:39 a.m.
and you know, it was Phil Goldstein who actually, this was in 1996, I believe that was the year, and Phil Goldstein was the one who invited me to that place out on the water there, and said you were going to be speaking because he was doing his show, Independent Thinkers, at that time. And so I think I heard about it, and I had gone to the legislature in June of 1996, Suffolk County, and that's where I met Phil Goldstein in 1996 in June. So that's how it all evolved. And so I was going to help him with his show, which I eventually did. And it's so nice how God has everything arranged, huh? And so at any rate, that's it. And I've made so many different shows out there, informing people, trying to get them to call Southampton, because everything hinges on what Southampton does now. We might be able to get the whole East End situation rectified, but there's so many things, so many details, so many issues I can't even get into about politics, about how the very powerful and the elite are even taking advantage of public access and education, supplemental access to television. And this is why the real fight is with politicians. Politicians are the ones, and this is where I'm fighting. I was going to ask you if you would join me, and you did. You were very nice to say you're going to be telling them to call that number in Brookhaven. And now, if you can, say anything about calling Southampton. That number, by the way, is 283-6055. 283-6055 in Southampton. And they should not sign that contract allowing the citizens to be subject to this 6-month contract. Okay, you remember when it was 3 months, and we helped fight that off too there in the East End. We helped fight that up to 6 months, but this is still not right. It should be special.
End of messages. To save all messages.
Church was nice, wasn't it, folks? Now, it's certainly warm enough to have it in the sanctuary. We didn't have to be down in the Sunday school room. They could have had it in the sanctuary. And Charlotte is sitting upon Omnibus 10, Glendora versus Charles Dolan, in Cablevision, and the crooks who work for him in the United States District Court, District of Ohio, Cleveland. Lawsuit that was filed. It took so long, that lawsuit, 80 hours. It cost $300-400 to print and post it. And it fell into the hands of a corrupt judge named Gahn. I hope she is by now. Gaughn, H-A-N. And saying that she didn't have venue when Charles Dolan, has all kinds of connections in Cleveland. All kinds of connections. And he really owns the Cleveland Browns. His brother is just an alter ego. So we have to wrap 40 tapes. And we have to make a dub of how Dolan and Cablevision and the bandits that work for him, how they harass people who sign Glendora's papers for Glendora's program to be on TV in their town, in their cable system. And then Glendora hands in the papers and they call up the person and they harass the person, and the person backs away scared to death. They don't tell them the truth. They lie to them. So that's 2 Dolan jobs today. Third Dolan job is right over there, the memorandum, post-trial memorandum. That's 3 Dolan jobs. Fourth one is the renewals. And the fifth one is the new Dolan lawsuit. Maybe I could get a lawyer to take this. I would be the lead attorney, and the lawyer would be the legal advisor, so that I would still be the lead attorney. Because once you take attorney, that's a gag. You can't talk after that. Maybe we'll try that.
I've got a great job. Money in the bank. Last month, someone asked if I read the Bible. The Bible? I'm successful. I'm happy. What do I need the Bible for? I can get more from the Wall Street Journal. But that made me curious. So I decided to take a second look.
I'm on my feet all day. When I go home, I just want to turn on the TV and relax. But read the Bible? All those these and thous and begats? What's the struggle with that after waiting on customers all day? But then a friend showed me this version written in modern English, and I was surprised.
This guy I play hoops with said I should start reading it, the Bible. Man, I said, I don't need no Bible. I mean, it just ain't cool. So he goes, I read it all the time. And he beat me by 20 points. So he gives me his Bible. I read it. It ain't hoops, but it ain't bad.
What's your excuse? Before you make an excuse to avoid reading the Bible, stop. Take a second look. Pick up the Bible for 5 minutes, and you may pick it up for a lifetime.
This is called squirrel watching. Squirrel watching. And this is called Dolan watching. Charles F. Dolan Cablevision watching. I have to read you this letter. This is George McDermott's fight in behalf of Glendora against Robert M. Callaghy, lawyer for hire for Charles F. Dolan, Cablevision Systems Corporation. And I will read you that letter. In support of Glendora's fight for right against these crooks. So what is going on here now? This is Glendora, chat with Glendora. We are printing the memorandum of law, Glendora plaintiff versus Charles F. Dolan and Cablevision Systems Corporation. Defendant, appellant, appellee rather, defendant, appellee, and reverse. And we're showing the judge that we should have the $3,000 cost. And this is the memorandum of law, and this is New York State civil practice laws and rules, costs generally. I've been working at this since 4:15 a.m. this morning, and the camera's on daylight time. But anyway, I've been working on this from 4:15 to 5:15. That would be about an hour. This is to be printed. This is to be printed. This has been printed. You have to make 4 sets of this. One for you, Glendora. One for McDermott. One for the city court judge, Peter Lane. And one for the Cablevision lawyer for hire, Robert M. Callaghan. You have to see the lousy job this landlord is doing on the mud. 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 Look at this boot. Look at the mud accumulated on this boot. Snow removal this winter was totally inadequate. Look at this. It takes a half an hour to clean up. And look at this one over here. My Mary Kate Ashley shoes. Mud. 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 Bad landlord. Mud. This is my friend Bruce Bergman, who came to see me all the way up from Stanford. And we're going to go to have lunch. What? And there's our sweet car.
Couldn't get it much closer than that.
No, there's our sweet car.
Like the brand new with the color so light.
Yes.
Say on each window.
Yes. Bruce says it gives you a special feeling when you walk into an older church like this.
Unbelievable. The cloth looks almost like real cloth.
Bruce says that they're 3D. It looks like the robe comes out farther than the child.
Right down the side there?
Yes.
That's out, and the child's head looks like it's in.
Yes, it does.
Boy, that's incredible.
Bruce says it gives you a special feeling to walk in an older sanctuary. Do you see the rose window?
What?
The rose window. See the rose window?
Yeah.
In the balcony, the rose window.
Just incredible windows.
And then did you notice all of the filigree work that's painted onto the walls, stenciled, all the way around the church? Now, hours and hours, down at the bottom, up at the top.
Looks like it's all hand done.
It does, and when they redid the church, they painted around them.
Well, these windows in here, I've seen windows all over England and some of the great churches of England and Scotland, and I don't think anything are prettier than these.
What a good word.
They're just really gorgeous.
Do you think it's too cold in here to have a service? I don't think so.
Why do you say that?
Because they're making us have the service in the Sunday school room.
These are incredible. Wow.
You want to go to the balcony?
Well, I'm glad you persisted in coming in.
Yeah.
That was worth weight in gold. Wow.
Oh, that's good to hear you say.
Now see how different these windows are. Maybe these are much older. Because they're nowhere as elaborate.
Oh, no. But they're lovely.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they do it.
Each section is a little leaded.
You can't see how beautiful it is till you get up here.
It's very unusual.
See, and no attic.
No?
It goes as high as it can toward God.
That's quite something what they built around where the chandelier is. That's very elaborate. All that woodwork.
What kind of wood do you think it is?
I don't know.
This rose window is fantastic.
I think these are probably a lot older than the ones on the sides.
All these ellipses, see, there's 3 ellipses.
Yeah.
And every piece, every color is a separate piece of glass with lead in between it.
Look at the difference. It looks like every one of those.
About that round piece in the
that-
ridge pole.
Well, that whole thing was the only reason it's there is just to ornament the fixture coming down.
Oh, okay.
The primary purpose is because of that fixture.
Oh,
They could have easily just hung it like that.
off the ridge pole.
Yet
like
look
that
at
one.
how elaborate that woodwork is around that big chandelier.
Yes, it is.
And inside there's a tremendous amount of work too. Can't quite see it as well from here.
Now you see,
And you know the whole thing was designed around it.
around the chandelier,
Yeah?
see, you couldn't ever build a church like this today.
No.
First, you wouldn't have the workmanship. 2, you wouldn't have the materials.
Yeah. I don't think it's pine. Just not sure what it is.
Do you notice that everything is a 12-foot door? No.
Oh,
Why is that? Every door in this church is 12 foot. Now, why is that? Why do they make doors so big?
older houses had low doors.
So how are we doing, everybody? This is all there is to copy. Here, pages 23 to 50 of the New York State Public Service Law, the Cable Commission, which now, of course, has been ingested by the Public Service Commission. And all of this has been copied. And it looks as though we might be able to get to collating it before this wonderful day is over. And now let's pray. Okay. So the printing is done. The printing is done. The big pile is gone. And there's the printing up there. And the next step is to collate. And let's see, how many hours have I worked on this? Oh, altogether it's 10 3/4. I was trying to figure out how many today. And look at that wonderful little copying machine. What a great job. This is Glendora, plaintiff, appellant, remand, versus Charles F. Dolan, Cablevision Systems Corporation, to win the $3,000 damages that Dolan caused Glendora. With this lawsuit, he did not return Glendora's tapes. The court made him return the tapes, 53 tapes. But look at the work it has taken to do this litigation. And there was a trial for damages for 6 hours on February the 19th. And now this is a post-trial memorandum of law. That's all law up there. New York Public Service Law, the CPLR, the Civil Practice Laws and Rules, the New York Lawyer's Trial Handbook. What's the other one? The Title 47 U.S. Code, the Cable Television Policy Act of 1984. And the New York Public Service Law. There they all up there. The law that says Glendora should be awarded $3,000 in damages. Look at the legal papers piling up over there. The dumb San Francisco Ninth Circuit, U.S. Court of Appeals, dumb Brooklyn, evil Eastern District of New York, Almond, Vega, Heinemann. Look at them piled up. 8 or 10, about 14 legal papers. So folks, take a look at it before it goes to the post office and it's served. That's McDermott's copy. This is Rye City Court's copy. I'll read the whole thing to you. This is the affirmation of service. Excuse me, that's Glenn's copy. And this is the Rye City Court copy with all of the tabs, the color tabs, and the 6 laws. I'll read it all to you, but just to look at it before it goes to the post office to be served. Hooray, folks! It's served. And it's served before noon. Who's going to say the prayer at noon? You? Or am I? Every 15 minutes, we rejoice, don't we? It was such a wonderful universe. So, now, I'll read it to you. It cost $12, folks. It cost $12 to mail it. And the Chatham post office was closed between 10:30 and 11:30. Isn't that a funny time to close a post office? Marilyn says, I expect my husband to be 10 years from now exactly what he is today. And her friend says, but that's absurd. She says, yes, that's what he is today. And the man came home from work, and he was so dejected. And his wife says, what's the matter, honey? And he says, they gave us aptitude tests at work today, and I flunked mine. And his wife says, that's dreadful. He says, yes, it's a good thing I own a company. What's the plural of goose? Geese. What's the plural of mouse? Mice. What's the plural of baby? Twins. And so, God, we are not removed in distance from you. We are not removed in distance from you. We are one with you in distance and in interests and in emotions and in thought. We are not removed from each other, are we? We are one. And the man came out of his friend's house, and he had this darling Cocker Spaniel in his arms, and he met another friend, and he says, hey, George, what do you think of this Cocker Spaniel puppy I got from my wife? And George says, that's not a bad trade. And there are so many labor-saving devices on the market today, you have to work all your life to pay for them. And these two girls said they were asked by the reporter why did they pick this particular college, and they said because of its rating. And the reporter says, oh, it has a high rating? And the girl says, no, but it has 10 male students to every 2 female students. The woman from the Ladies' Society at church said to the pastor, do you see that little room over there during the rummage sale? I sold everything in that little room. The pastor says, that's the cloakroom. And Joni says, I have the most delicious recipe for casserole. I simply mention it, and my husband says, let's eat out. And the lady all dressed up said to the artist, they were in the artist studio, and she says, I love your colors. Oh, I love your colors. I wish I could take some home with me. And the artist says, oh, you will, ma'am. You're sitting on my brushes. Did you know about the little Hollywood extra who got finally a speaking part in the movies? And the scene was the detective would say to the little Hollywood extra, did you see that woman drink that cup of coffee? And the little extra was supposed to say, I did. And he went home and he rehearsed all the different ways he could say, I did. I did. I did. I did. Came time to shoot the scene. The detective says, did you see that woman drink that cup of coffee? And the little extra says, did I? Well, he's gone, flat rate. As I said, it cost $12. And it went to the clerk of the court, City Court of Rye, County of Westchester, State of New York, United States of America, and it went to Robert Callaghan at 230 Park Avenue, Pan Am Building, and it went to McDermott. And here it is. February 29, 2004, Anno Domini, City Court, City of Rye, County of Westchester, State of New York, United States of America. Small claims, year 202, 2002. Number 146. Glendora Plaintiff Appellant Remand. I got a remand. Versus Charles F. Dolan and Cablevision Systems Corporation. Defendant, appellee, and reversed. Got the decision reversed. This is Glendora's post-trial memorandum of law. It's like 209 pages, I believe. 300 pages. It's 290. And it took $51 and 03 cents to print it, and I left out the postage. No, I didn't. The postage was $11.55, and no, I don't see the postage added here. It should be $62 that it costs. No, it's in there, excuse me. Anyway, guess how many hours it took? 18 hours. It took 18 hours. It took me 18 hours. It took George McDermott at least 15 hours. And these pages are so sweet, they're stuck on each other. On March the 1st, 2004, says Glendora, she received infra from George E. McDermott. Glendora has read infra, she understands and agrees with it. She incorporates the same by reference. Note her marginalia, please. Yours in truth and in amor patriae, Glendora, a chat with Glendora on 42 TV stations, including Washington, D.C., Box 124, Ghent, New York, 12075, 914-949-9495, and it's Opus 1070, 97, and I estimated that it would take 10 hours, it took 18. I estimated the cost would be $72, and it turned out to be, what did I tell you, 62. Not so bad. George E. McDermott, Democratic candidate for the United States House of Representatives from Maryland's 4th Congressional District. February 27, 2004. Glendora, thank you for inviting me to be with you when you courageously appeared to defend your legal rights under the rules of law in the Rye City Courthouse. I must say I was very impressed with the court trial judge, Peter Lane. He was not only fair and just within the confines of the position, but he was also very personable, able, and appeared to have a general respect for the rule of law, something that many of our judicial officers have forgotten. So true, George. That being said, you still have to get your memorandum of law ready as requested and file the same on a timely manner. I know the time constraints on your time, so I'm doing a little research to help. I hope it will help your case should you decide to use them. My recollection is that the court had many concerns, some of which were you injured regarding the relief requested? I believe it would be prudent for you to review the case law I found and see if it fits within your criteria. I have taken liberties of checking out with the law to see when it does not say in regards to the comments made by the judge. As I recall, you specifically requested that the trial be recorded. This is consistent with the fundamental precept that trials in judicial proceeding generally shall be open to the public view and to the mandate of judiciary by lawful Rule 4, Civil Practice Laws and Rules, State of New York, Rule 4001. Communication Incorporated versus Hughes. I'm not going to read you the cites. The fact that the court already had the transcript ready for you for the January 20th conference was a blessing. However, I am concerned that the opposing counsel has expressed opposition to the court about turning over the tape of the proceedings on the 19th of February. CPLR 9701. Records are public. The law is very clear. You are entitled to full stenographic notes of the testimony and all other proceedings in each action, tried or heard. traditional law, Super 295, support your position. There must be a record of each and every mark or comment by a judge during the trial or hearing. When requested to do so by either party, you timely made such a request. Also, each and every exception taken to any ruling or decision, remark, or comment by or on behalf of the party in the action, although frequently such as the remarks may be of no monument from counsel as a statutory right, or requested, have these remarks taken down. And he gives a cite. You as a party are entitled to have the summation of opposing counsel recorded for future proceedings as they are the record. That's George McDermott's first page. Okay, so we've got it off and running. Let's think about what we're going to do next. Memorandum of Law, Glendora versus Charles F. Dolan and Cablevision Systems Corporation, Rice City Court. Post-trial memorandum of law. Okay, we'll be back in just a second. Isn't this February weather grand? Temperatures of 53 degrees, 57 degrees. Well, that was February, but it is March. And the first 4 days of March, have been like in the 40s and the 50s, and no precip, and no snow. This is page 2 of McDermott. I was further concerned that opposing counsel was trying to have this matter dismissed as a non-suit for lack of jurisdiction, even though the appellate court resolved this matter once and for all in its opinion, CPLR 103C. The fact that you asked for a jury trial under CPLR 410 and the court proceeded without allowing one is essential. A decision is required, and it must take the fact of the court deeds as an essential element. And he keeps citing cases. The rule states clearly where the court dismisses a complaint if such action is deemed a non-suit. Findings of fact are not necessary, but if the decision is one on the merits, such findings of fact are necessary. When you're making notes, you might want to bring this point up to the court. How can court dismiss an action as a non-suit when the appellant or panel unanimously agreed to remand? Yeah, that's certainly legal and logical. I recall you saying that you prayed for jury trial on our Supreme Courts and the construction under the Seventh Amendment guarantee you the right to a trial by jury. Your Park Avenue opponent has defeated himself on O'Leary versus American Airlines. I was very pleased to see the judge did not allow summary dismissal at conclusion of plaintiff's case, consistent with New York State, that says a complaint may not be dismissed on counsel's opening unless the facts, as alleged and presented by the counsel, preclude any possibility of plaintiff's recovery. Glendora, I was surprised when the trial judge stopped you on your opening statement. This is a fundamental due process right for litigants to get their case of action on the record, respective of the fact that opposing counsel defendant chose to limit himself to jurisdiction matters and not matters of merit before the court.
I've got a great job. Money in the bank. Last month, someone asked if I read the Bible. The Bible? I'm successful. I'm happy. What do I need the Bible for? I can get more from the Wall Street Journal. But that made me curious. So I decided to take a second look.
I'm on my feet all day. When I go home, I just want to turn on the TV and relax. But read the Bible? All those these and thous and begats? Who wants to struggle with that after waiting on customers all day? But then a friend showed me this version written in modern English, and I was surprised.
This guy I play hoops with said I should start reading it, the Bible. Man, I said, I don't need no Bible. I mean, it just ain't cool. So he goes, I read it all the time. And he beat me by 20 points. So he gives me his Bible. I read it. It ain't hoops, but it ain't bad.
What's your excuse? Before you make an excuse to avoid reading the Bible, stop. Take a second look. Pick up the Bible for 5 minutes, and you may pick it up for a lifetime.
That you, as the plaintiff, who has an affirmative position as to all issues of fact raised by denials, opponent in their answers, the rights to open and enclose is a substantial one I'm sure you will want to bring to the attention of the court. This precious right is not dependent upon the trial judge's discretion. You as a party who are deprived of the right know you are entitled to a new trial if you relief is denied. And he's saying that if my relief is denied by the Rye City Court, that I am entitled to a new trial on the fact that my opening statement was not allowed, was interrupted. Now surely the trial judge, that would be Peter Lane, Rye City Court, City of Rye, surely the trial judge was aware that ordinarily plaintiff is entitled to open if plaintiff has anything whatsoever to prove on the issue of damages. Irrespective of the damages being sought, CPLR 8101 supports is whether they being compensatory, punitive, or in your case cost, for the defending counsel against opposing for stretching out litigation. That the Cablevision and Callaghan and Dolan stretched out this litigation. It's a year and a half now. Small claims case. It's been stretched out a year and a half. Litigation abuse and escalating costs to force the plaintiff to pursue relief in other courts, maybe, while defendant's counsel goes to judge shopping. Now the court knows full well that Glendora, as the plaintiff, must prove anything. She claims, in order to prevent a verdict against you, plaintiff has a right to open and close, which you were denied. Surely you had the right to lay out your bill of costs on the record without interference from the court. If jurisdiction has been required, the court will retain jurisdiction and direct that the action or the proceeding continually, that the action will proceed in proper form. Jurisdiction is no longer a question. And that surprised me so much when Peter Lane repetitively allowed Callaghan to bring up jurisdiction 5 or 6 times. It's a settled matter. I have jurisdiction over Charles F. Dolan. The court has jurisdiction over Charles F. Dolan. Surely, Glendora, you passed the test of plaintiff's right to open first and close last. You are entitled to recovery on all the causes of action alleged in the complaint, and further, that you had previously submitted to the court a bill of costs which your opposing counsel failed to raise in defense against other than the absurd one that the court had no jurisdiction, which court wisely rejected, as you have rights under CPLR section 101C1, having prevailed on appeal. Glendora, what this Park Avenue attorney did to you by repeating his nonsensical claims of lack of jurisdiction and by framing his answer in framing his answer in such a way that it leaves no tribal issue as to any of the essential allegations in the complaint. I believe defendant's counsel is now left with the burden of proof, requiring no evidence from plaintiff to prove your case. There can be no doubt, Glendora, that you had asked to read into the record conclusive evidence, the form of an appellant opinion that was in my favor, and that the court, for reasons unknown, would not allow this to be done. I think the reasons unknown is that the appellant court makes it very clear that I should get $3,000 damages. And it makes it very clear that there was error in the Rye City Court. Maybe those are his reasons, Peter Lane's reasons, for not letting me read into the record the entire opinion of the appellate term. Glendora, surely this judge knows that in the absence any effort to the public policy that the parties to a civil dispute have the right to chart your own course of litigation. In addition, in disposing of such litigation in this fashion, parties may stipulate away statutory or even constitutional rights. Glendora, you were absolutely right, says George McDermott, in limiting the stipulations to the entry of the Supreme Court ruling reversing the trial court's erroneous judgment and remanding the case back for further proceedings. The record reflects you did not agree to any further stipulation. I'm sure you were not aware of the consequences of an agreed stipulations of fact, pursuant to CPLR Rule 3222, that states stipulations must cover all points in dispute so as to permit a determination of the legal issue without resort to evidence that is outside of the agreed application. And everything that Callaghan brought up was outside of the agreed litigation. Glendora, your opponent can no longer assert his or court's jurisdiction as the defense. And finally, the merits of your claims of relief will be allowed to move forward. Glendora, surely this Park Avenue attorney, this is Robert M. Callaghan, Satterley, Stevens, Burke, and Burke, was well aware of the effects of an irrefutable presumption, and that this is where the law recognizes certain presumptions, which are public policy and may not be rebutted. They are sometimes noted as presumptions of law, a conclusive proportion of law, as a conclusive presumption. These are not presumptions, properly speaking, but are our rules of substantial law. Surely your opposing counsel was fully aware that his presumption has been rebutted, or as this one has, for the defense of the time of proof that if the jurisdiction is ordinarily, vanishes entirely as a legal defense. In Ray Goldman Estates, in the face that the New York Supreme Court, in the matter of Glendora versus Charles F. Dolan and Cablevision Systems Corporation, ruled for the plaintiff against defendant, the court has ruled contrary to their absurd jurisdictional defense. So we're up to page 4. There again, this is Glendora versus Charles F. Dolan and Cablevision Systems Corporation, Rye City Court, County of Westchester, State of New York. And this, I won this case in the appellate term. It was to be remanded, and the decision of the Rye City Court was reversed. And it was a trial for my damages. And I presented my hours and my dollars, what this litigation has cost me. to get back my videotapes. The situation was Charles Dolan and Cablevision did not return my videotapes, and I sued for that for $3,000. And that lawsuit has taken a year and a half, and it's cost me, well, it's cost me 195 hours up until the trial, and it's cost $600 in print, post, and travel up until the trial. And so that's what the case is about. Glendora's getting her damages. And I was just aghast that Peter Lane, before noon even, dismissed my hours and my dollars and said he wasn't going to grant it. And I jumped up immediately and I said, what's your statutory authority? And the lawyer down there saying that they should be dismissed, my hours and dollars. What's your statutory authority? So that's why there's a memorandum of law. They thought they were going to get a by with that without any statement of law. The judge. So folks, we're on page 4 of Glendora's letter, or to Glendora, from George McDermott, who was a great pro se and freedom champion. And he lives in Washington, D.C. We're right outside there in Maryland. I have to let Cross the Road Kitty out. You want to go out, Cross the Road Kitty? And he says, George McDermott says, Glendora, if I were you, the inferences opposing counsel made at the trial, you're standing to collect costs and damages as being without merit. Statements made as unsupported inferences are for sure on the eye of the court, and the court is aware that your adversary, who holds evidence in his possession and control that would likely support your version of claims of relief requested. Glendora, your opposing counsel, I believe, was trying to prevent the court from taking judicial notice of facts before the court in the case before. Clearly, you have repeatedly prevailed over and over again, the opposing counsel and their clients. You know this is a fact of the record, and the court knows and has knowledge of it. Glendora, surely the court knew and had the record before approving your just claims of relief, seeking court costs and damages relating to opposing counsel's unwarranted defense. The court knows fully well that it can take judicial notice of his own records. The fact that you filed a pretrial memorandum containing approximately 100 plus pages outlining your bill of costs to date, the court surely could take judicial notice that there was a genuine dispute on the recorder. The rules say the city court should take judicial justice even on documents filed in the court itself. Now, you are seeking less than 10% of what was read into the record as the proceeding. Says George McDermott, Glendora, I was appalled about the way the opposing counsel repeatedly asserted that you had no cause of action that wasn't granting the relief for monetary and other damages caused you by frustration of purpose and justice by defendants and opposing counsel. The record reflects that you have vigorously defeated defendants and their counsel repeatedly in numerous New York systems. This is a matter of public record and also in the federal courts. The court should recognize its own record and take judicial notice of it. I quote, the matter of public record and from a public record is a proper subject of judicial notice. The published orders, opinions, and judgments in related cases are certainly items that this court, meaning the Rye City Court, Peter Lane, should take judicial notice of its own record, as it is in the best interests of justice. That's page 4. This is George McDermott's letter to Glendora, which he incorporated by reference in her memorandum of law to the Rye City Court after 6 hours of trial on February the 19th. Glendora, your opposing counsel asserted that there are no statutes in New York State Code that permit the court to grant you requests for financial release of costs incurred by you in opposing defendants' unwarranted and unethical defense. I was surprised that they did not cite any law or statute that the judge could formalize and base his opinion. That is probably because there are no statutes that deny citizens a right to recovery damages. Glendora, there are certain facts that can be judicially noticed. Court shall not take judicial notice of matters that are unascertainable without proof. Opposing counsel did not cite one statute to support his claim of relief. That's what I said. I jumped up and I said, what's your statutory authority? To both of them. Glendora, I base this on the presumptions arising from the conduct of the opposing party and their counsel. Surely opposing counsel is aware that if a party has relevant evidence under his control and fails to produce such evidence, it's permissible that such evidence would not be favorable to him. In other words, Callaghy had plenty of evidence that he should have presented, that he didn't because it wasn't favorable to him or to Charles Dolan. Opposing counsel was also requested to produce documents to the court relating to their refusal to produce books or papers as the trial after due notice. It may be presumed that such filing or refusal is because such existence, if produced, would operate against the claim and in favor of the claims of the opposing party. You, Glendora. Okay. I guess that's pretty clear, isn't it? This is page 5. Glendora, I can't believe opposing counsel stating that he did not receive your pleading. Surely they received, and the presumption of the delivery of a letter is that you attended, that the letters that were in an affirmation. And what better proof could the court have than it received a copy, and also the fact 3 copies were sent. One to the opposing counsel, Robert M. Callaghy, a liar for hire for Charles F. Dolan, and one was sent to Charles F. Dolan, and another was sent to Cablevision Systems Corporation. So really, he had no grounds to show up and say, I didn't receive Glendora's 120-page post-conference memorandum and pretrial statement. Glendora, in viewing your April show, I was appalled that your living standards have diminished so much and that you have had to move 3 times to reduce your costs, while the Park Avenue lawyer and his clients make a fool of the court solely to deny you just compensation for the losses that you have incurred because of their client's refusal to act in good faith. There's no question about that. They refused to act in good faith. Dolan, Callaghy, and Cablevision Systems Corporation. And it really did damage our finances. And we did keep having to move north to cut the rent. And I think the money that's gone into fighting Charles Dolan, breaking the laws and violating rights, my public access rights, my shareholder rights, my editing rights, the money that's gone into that is $26,000. And I'd like to have that money. And the hours have gone into 9,700 hours. I'd like to have those hours back too. Because Charles Dolan is out to break every law that he can in his ignorance and in his arrogance. He doesn't care what the law is. It's going to be his way. You stated that you had audio tape of your sponsor's phone conversations saying that defendants' agents had unduly influenced your sponsors to withdraw their sponsorship of you by telling them that they would be liable to sue for the content of your show. I believe it would be of the utmost importance for you to present this evidence to the court. And here it is, folks, right here. I have about 20 conversations of people that signed up for the program, and then I would hand in the papers in good faith to Cablevision, and they would immediately call up my signer and scare them away, saying, you're liable for everything Glendora says. Well, we know that's not true. So they just scared them away. And Christine Savarino should be put back on the witness stand. I asked her when she was on the witness stand, had any lawsuits ever come from a chat with Glendora? She said, no. Do they tell that to the people? No. And another thing I have to tell you about that. So if a signer is going to be sued, why is Cablevision concerned? They're not suing Cablevision, they're suing the signer. Since when is Cablevision so solicitous of a person? They'll call them up and say, oh, you're going to get sued, you shouldn't sign this, you should back down. Why did they write it that way? So my point here is that what skin is it off the nose of Cablevision if a signer does get sued? Not that a signer has or would, but what skin is it off of their nose? If they're going to get sued, let them get sued. And they're not going to get sued. So you see why, what they're doing? It's harassment. It's extortion. And so these tapes show that. And there's so many of the conversations they scared away. Whole bunch of them. This whole lawsuit is all about that. This whole great big thick lawsuit in the United States District Court, Cleveland, is all about how Cablevision extorted these people, and it sues Cablevision for doing that, and it sues the people who defected, who broke faith with me. Glendora, I'm sure that you are aware of the presumption of constitutionality of a statute. I believe that New York State Constitution guarantees due process under the law and equal protection under the law. And this includes the right of one to be compensated in a whole for losses that have incurred and damages they have suffered at the hands of a party opponent who has acted in the absence of good faith and honesty towards opponents. And that's exactly what Charles Doan, Robert M. Callaghan, and Cablevision Systems Corporation did. They acted in bad faith. Why didn't they send back my tapes anyhow? Why did they have to wait to be sued to send back my tapes? Opposing counsel record both knowledge of statute, which is represents to be constitutional, must be construed so as to uphold the constitutionality if there is a rational basis for doing so. Both the trial judge and the opposing counsel made notice of rational basis. As you have prevailed in every case, you are entitled to be compensated for your losses of rational basis, and here is equal access to the law as stated in Saratoga Water Service for Saratoga Water Authority. Glendora, I admire your stand with the court when you openly challenged on the record the court's wrongful assertion that it was one of a limited jurisdiction to grant user relief, requested the court's ruling in conflict with the presumed fact that being the presumption of regularity of procedures only shifts the burden